A few years ago, I met a woman and she was very confident. She was giving me great advices, and there was something about her that was so articulate, that was so confident that after she left the room, I remember going into a complete opposite space. I was name calling myself, I was hating myself, I was cursing God. um, I was just feeling so disappointed about the fact that God had made me so opposite her. I was just jealous and so envious and feeling so ungrounded in my body, in my space, that I was so ungrateful about that every little thing God had made about me. Um, and I also remember around that time I had gone to a mentor who had told me, why don't you investigate the invisible small eye who is suffering? And that made me feel even worse because he didn't care about how I was feeling. He was just interested in finding the small invisible eye which didn't make any sense back then. And life moved on. I had several experiences discovering my true self, my true nature. And just very recently, I had a similar experience where I met a woman, very confident, very articulate, very structured. And I did feel a lot more ungrounded. I definitely felt a lot more ungrounded. However, because I don't abandon myself like how I did earlier, I investigated this because while I was speaking to her, it brought back to me that memory which I had years ago. And I sat in stillness and I inquired, what about this woman is making me feel so ungrounded? What about this experience is making me feel so shaken in my body? And it just occurred to me that every time I encounter people with, those kind of people who've got it all figured and they're very confident, structured, the way they speak is just so on point. That confidence sort of makes me feel very unstructured, makes me feel very wrong about myself. And when that happened, there was this sense of space that opened up. There was this crystal clarity that came about in my space that every time I see something perfect, there is something else I need to blame, either God or my parents or my conditioning for making me so flawed and making them so perfect and right. Because it's kind of difficult to process emotions like I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy or the fact that they have something and I don't. But when you start investigating such sensitive beliefs, initially all the locked, sensitive traumas may surface in your body as unpleasant sensations. But the beauty about it is when you kind of give them the space and allow them to show up as it is, which is what a lot of therapists do in shadow work, you embrace those parts and pieces in you as well. Like how you would embrace a very confident, happy go lucky part of you. And you start realizing that life is everything. It is not about being a certain way. It's about having all experiences. And that's when, as in when you start investigating and doing the work, you start realizing that you're actually a spiritual being having a human experience. The times that we're living in today, there are a lot of people who are having these experiences, who are awakening to their true nature. And sometimes the teaching might appear to us as if they're asking us to bypass our feelings and emotions. But the truth is that how can you enjoy your spiritual experience if you're bypassing your human experience? Spiritual experience as a whole means completely embracing your shadows, which initially, like I said, is not easy. But there's something very liberating when you get to that point of loving yourself wholly and completely. I help people during their transition, especially when they want to investigate stuck beliefs like the ones I just mentioned. If you need any help or require any assistance, I would love to connect with you. I would love to know your thoughts about this video. Please comment in the section below, and I would see you soon. Thank you.